In 2024, Auburn and Mizzou play for only the 5th time in the history of both these schools. Who's likely to come out on top? Let's talk about it. Auburn versus Missouri has been one of the fiercest rivalries in the SEC since the conference expanded. No, it hasn't been very fierce. It's just been Auburn kicking Mizzou's ass. All right, noted. Auburn versus Missouri has been pretty lopsided in the modern day era of college football, with Auburn winning the last 3 matchups. In the wins, the real Tigers have beaten the fake ones by a combined score of 127-70, with 2 epic beatdowns in 2013 and 1 in 2017. Now, neither team was great in 2022, but bad teams find a way to lose, and Missouri didn't disappoint in that department, literally fumbling the game away in overtime and losing to one of Auburn's worst teams in the last 50 years. In fact, the last and only time that Missouri beat Auburn, gas was 39 cents a gallon. The Exorcist was the #1 movie in America. Roe v. Wade was being decided by the Supreme Court, and George Steinbrenner bought the New York Yankees for only $10 million. So, you get it. It's been a while. Auburn actually landed its first win against Missouri in the 2013 SEC Championship game. Trey Mason ran for over 300 yards in an absolute and utter beatdown of Missouri offensively. The 2017 Tigers were pretty good as well, as they posted a 50-piece on Missouri to score their second win in the series. However, times do change, and Missouri is currently trending up while Auburn has pretty much flatlined, unable to break 500 since Gus Malzahn left the Plains. Missouri finished last season as an AP Top 10 team, and Eli Drinkowitz has Missouri trending up in almost every single statistical category. Brady Cook should be one of the best QBs in college football, throwing to one of the best receivers in Luther Burden. To make matters worse for Auburn, Missouri plays Auburn on the tail end of a first half schedule front-loaded with cupcakes. Missouri's schedule is Charmin soft headed into their matchup with Auburn. I'd expect them to be at worst 5-1, but most likely 6-0 headed into that matchup. Conversely, Auburn plays Missouri during a brutal stretch that starts with Oklahoma at home, then takes them to Georgia on the road, followed by Missouri on the road after a bye week, and ends with Kentucky. Thank God for that bye week, sandwiched between what should be 2 top 10 opponents. Now, year 2 of the Hugh Freeze era will display a mix of experienced talent like Peyton Thorne, coupled with the generational talent of Cam Coleman, and what we presume will be his partner in crime in Perry Thompson. One of the most heralded classes in Auburn history will have the task of trying to get Auburn back on a winning path, and a win against Missouri in Columbia would be a step in the right direction. So what do you think? Does history repeat itself, or does Missouri log their first modern-day era win against Auburn in 2024? Let me know in the comments after the video who you think wins this matchup. And while you're at it, visit goldenscastiron.com for all your dumbbell and kettlebell needs. We love them at Goldens for sponsoring this segment, and you should too.
What's up, War 4 family? We are back with another great edition of The Mix. Joining me is special guest. They call you Baby Goat.
Yes, sir.
Who do we blame for that? Zach? Do we blame Zach for that?
Yeah, I think we blame Zach.
All right, Zach, the Baby Goat is here with me to talk a little bit about his experience. Hey, let's jump right in here. How transformative was the Music City Bowl for you? Let's back up. Let's talk about the moment you get thrown into the fire in, what was it, the third quarter? Right? Fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Was it fourth quarter?
What?
Okay. What was it like being called off the bench suddenly to, be the quarterback at Auburn University?
Yeah, obviously it was, I'd say, first and foremost, I was just super excited. Just getting that opportunity. I feel like one big thing that has been getting told to me, and a big thing obviously around college football as a quarterback especially, is just, when you get your opportunity, you got to take full advantage of it.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting, but there's a little bit of nerves behind that too. Obviously, that's a big opportunity to be able to, seize. You got to seize every moment that you get like that. And so it's just really exciting, but it was kind of, surreal.
Yeah. Are you a gunslinger? Is Hank Brown a gunslinger?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all
I
right.
would consider myself.
Well, I remember the throw to Caleb Burton on the deep post, and you nailed him, headed down the field. And then fast forward to 8A, and you're just like, I'm going to chuck it up to Cam Coleman, and he comes down with it, right? Like,
There.
Talk about taking chances down the field versus, taking the check down or making the right play. Like, how are you going through that process in your mind about what the right play to make is, at the right time?
For sure. I think just through the study of film and through the process that you have to go through as a quarterback, I think that I will make my decision based on what I think is the highest probability of that throw, whether that's, a go ball to Cam. Obviously Cam is someone where the probabilities are raised on a D ball.
Yeah. Do you make up your mind to throw that ball before the snap, or like how's Hank Brown reading it?
Yeah. So on that specific play for 8A, there's a certain look that we like pre-snap versus that type of route. It's kind of like a split route through the middle of safeties, and so obviously if you get a one high look, you don't like that off the pre-snap look.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get a too high look, you're like, okay, my probabilities are increased from pre-snap look. But it's not just like, okay, I'm going to throw that. You got to confirm by who you're looking at on that specific play. And for that play, it was the Badger safety, and he set his feet, and I'm like, oh, man, shouldn't be doing that with Cam. And so, yeah, I would definitely consider myself a gunslinger.
Oh, man. Listen, Auburn has only had 2 3,000-yard passers in the whole history of the program. Hugh Freeze is now the head coach here. You're going into your second year with him as head coach. How have things been different this spring for you at quarterback than they were last spring? I mean, you started last spring, further down the depth chart. And this spring, you're firmly in a battle for at least number 2, if not number 1, depending on how things go.
For sure, yeah. So I actually came in the summer of last year.
Okay, so you missed last spring.
And so I wasn't able to come for the spring for many different reasons. But, this spring has been huge for me. And just I think it's just really a good time to grow, especially as a quarterback in a new offense. And so, I think it's been great. I think I've learned a ton, just as far as, defensive identification all the way to, just building chemistry with our receivers. But I think spring is just a biggest time for growth. And I think for me, I grew a ton this spring, for sure.
What kind of things were you working on? Like, where were the holes in your game, do you think, going into this spring practice?
Yeah, so I think, there were a few things I was holding in on for sure from a mechanic standpoint, working on, for example, my front step when I'm throwing to make sure it's quick and short. So that allows me to be more twitchy with my hips, something that I've been working on with Coach Austin. And along with, I think just obviously with this new offense that we're putting in, I think that's just a huge thing. Just to be able to discipline our eyes on every play to know exactly where we need to be, who we need to be reading, and what we need to be reading throughout that certain play. So I think that, those are the two main things that I really was growing, two things that I grew a lot from this spring.
Yeah, it's obviously you guys have made a change at offensive coordinator, right? So Coach Freeze talked about implementing some of his old terminology into what you guys are doing. How has that change in terminology made it easier to process information or maybe go through your reads? Like, how different is it?
Yeah, it's a lot different, honestly. I think there's some things from last year. Good different.
Good different? Okay.
Great different.
Yeah.
I mean, so thankful that Coach Freeze stepped in and is taking control over, the offense. And I think it's a great difference. There are some things that translate over, but, you know, I think it's one of those things where at the beginning it's going to be a little bit harder to kind of master the terms in the playbook. But if you think at it from a more of a long-term, not necessarily long-term, but like over just a few months span of us having the offense down, like it's definitely for the better, for sure.
Hank, you can't name Cam Coleman, but give me a receiver. Give fans a receiver to watch going into 2024 so far in spring camp.
I would say Robert Lewis.
Really?
I think he is very special. Just, you know, not only his route running, I think he's very good route runner, but his IQ for the game. And I think that's one big thing that we really focus on in this new offense is the receiver has to be on the same page as the quarterback. And so, you know, I think Robert is one of those guys who you know exactly what he's doing and we can be on the same page with him.
Wow.
And so that's a big part of what we're trying to get to in our offense. And so that's why I think he's good at standing out this year.
Is there a feeling maybe in the building that they're going to put the air back into the football a little bit this year? Last year it was 61% run versus 39% pass, right? You feel like they're going to throw it more in this new offense?
For sure. I think we'll definitely level that out a little bit more. And I think it kind of just you can't – it's hard to put a number on that going into the season. It also kind of just depends how we how the season kind of turns out. But, man, I'd love to flip that. I'd flip that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, the system, you know, and the pace of the game kind of dictated, the situations dictated, you know, when, you know, how much of the run you guys utilize versus the pass. But going into this season, you know, you're firmly in a battle, you know, for that job. So, what has Coach Freeze told you he wanted to see from you to take the next step as a quarterback? You know, I mean, you were a lot further away from it going into that bowl game, and then suddenly you're firmly in the middle of it. And then coming into this spring, it's, you know, that really hasn't changed. You're firmly in the middle of it. You know, what kind of feedback have you gotten on what they want to see from you to be the guy?
Yeah, you know, I think that's a good point. And I think, you know, from my conversation with Coach Freeze and other coaches, they really want me to just really step up, and they want me to do that. And I think one big thing that they're emphasizing to me is just, you know, my ability to just stay calm in the pocket and be able to deliver those throws. And I think one big thing for them is just honestly the understanding of their offense. Obviously, decision-making plays a big part into, you know, a good quarterback. And so, you know, they really want me to get to a point where, you know, it's like, you know, they don't have to, you know, get on me for my decision-making because they know that my eyes and decisions are going to be made right each and every play. And so I think that's a big thing. But also just, you know, my ability to get the ball out fast. And they really are emphasizing that. Just, you know, I think Tom Brady does an incredible job of getting the ball out fast. And, I mean, I think there's a stat on it. I don't know exactly the timing of how fast he gets it out, but I think that's one thing that they're emphasizing to me that they want me to continue to build and do that.
Is that a role model? Is Tom Brady a role model of yours?
I think
is that a guy you aspire to?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't know who would say that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Cool. Millionaire, model wife, a classic good looks. Yeah, I'd want to be Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So, do you watch a lot of tape on Tom? Like,
yeah, I think I definitely do. You know, there's a few quarterbacks I like to watch tape on in the NFL, and I think one is Tom. another one that I really like to watch is Matthew Stafford. I think he's a good one.
Yeah.
Who's got, I think he's a special one, very underrated. I feel like a lot of people don't give him the credit he deserves, but those are definitely some guys I like to watch.
What does Hank Brown like to do in his spare time?
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, I mean, we've gotten a lot of varying answers from your teammates on this. Coy Moore thinks he's the best Madden player in the world. Do you play video games? Are you a video game guy?
I'm not a huge video game guy.
Call of Duty?
I'll play Madden every once in a while.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a Madden guy.
Don't play Coy.
That's good to know. Good to know. But, in my free time, I'd say my main go-to is I like to golf.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a big golfer. Even today, I went out on the course and played with my brother.
Oh, all right.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily really good at it. I'd probably shoot mid to high 80s.
That's really good.
It's
That's really good for an amateur golfer. Yeah, okay.
No, it's okay, but I mean, it's hard to be very good when you don't get to play that much.
Yeah. Listen, it's consistent. When I was in school here, that's when I picked up a set of golf clubs.
Really?
Yeah, and we used to go out as much as we could afford it back then.
Yeah.
To play golf quite a bit. Have you played Robert Trent Jones?
Played it today.
And that was target golf back in the day. It was fairway or gone right out there, right? Is it still like that out there?
It kind of is.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's probably a little bit easier than it was back then.
Fair enough.
But it's still it's not too easy.
I remember a couple of island greens
Yeah.
out there still, like in some of the par threes.
Par threes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It's not an easy course, but I definitely like to play some golf in my free time.
Did you watch the Masters this weekend?
Did.
Okay.
Did.
All right. Who's your favorite golfer?
Man, I mean, I feel like it's a lame answer, but Tiger Woods.
Yeah. He's still my favorite golfer too.
I was hoping that he would maybe get back. But he made the cut, so
He did make the cut.
yeah.
Have you been to a Masters?
I have not.
It's on my bucket list.
It's online too.
Yeah. It's like impossible to get. You have to win a lottery to have the chance to pay $5,000 to go watch the Masters.
No, it's crazy exclusive.
Well, yeah, it is very exclusive.
Maybe one day.
So Hank Brown likes to play golf, in his free time. Let's talk about the other free time that you have. In that you got to get work in the off season, right? So spring practice ends, but the work does not, and you've got to get in with your receivers and develop a rapport. How are you working with the receivers this off season to build some more rapport, try to get on the same page with them?
Yeah, so I think one, obviously spending time on the field with them, and getting that chemistry and coach them up on the field as well. Certain yardages, whatever that looks like. But I think a big part of it is getting in the film room with them.
Yeah.
And going over, certain concepts and kind of explaining the why behind every concept. I think, like I was telling you, it's important that they have an understanding of more than just their route on a given play. And so, kind of getting with them and kind of laying out the entire concept and what that looks like and the why behind, everything that they need to be doing is the best way to, one, build chemistry, but obviously be on the same page. So I think that's another way that I feel like a lot of people look over, and obviously being on the field with them is a great part of it, but spending time in the film room is very important.
Yeah. Going back to Cam Coleman, again, he made a ridiculous catch for you during that spring game. He made one for Peyton. He seems like a guy who's going to make a lot of ridiculous catches. How does it change your thought process as a quarterback, having a guy that you could throw the ball up to and he can just go get it?
It completely changed it.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible having him, obviously. But it definitely changes our thought process. If we know he's on a given side and we got same routes on both sides and even look, we know who we're
for sure.
And so obviously that's awesome. And just, I think one of my favorite things about Cam is not only that he's an incredible receiver, but his work ethic and his, he's very coachable. And so, on the field, on Saturday. I was able to talk with him. We were able to talk a few things, and just that attribute I think is gonna serve him very well, and obviously he's gonna go a long way.
Hank, Coach Freeze recruited you to Liberty, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, and he obviously took the head coaching job here at Auburn. Now, so you decided to come to Auburn. What was that conversation like? Was there any point where you thought you might stay committed to Liberty in spite of him leaving there?
No. So when he left, I knew, as much as I love the school of Liberty, Coach Freeze and Coach Austin were the reason that I was going there.
Okay.
Because I had faith in them and knew that what they were doing was right.
So coach over school here, right?
At Liberty.
Okay.
At Liberty.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and obviously I know Coach Freeze is different compared to all the other coaches. That's just kind of going through the whole recruiting process, and my favorite thing about Coach Freeze is his you're able to trust him because he's honest. He's very transparent, and so I think that you don't get that in college football. There's a lot of coaches lying and telling you things that just aren't true, and Coach Freeze tells you straight up, and I love that about him. And so when he left, it opened up my recruitment, obviously. But the whole time I knew I was gonna come with him here. It was just best case. I've always loved Auburn, and then my favorite coach coming here is like, God's blessing. So
yeah, it's interesting. We tell our listeners all the time that players primarily commit to coaches over institutions because of the vision that coach has for your talent. Was there a point here maybe where during the first year where you maybe doubted whether this was the right place for you or not, based on your place in the pecking order? The transfer portal has provided you guys the opportunity, right, to seek other opportunities if you feel like it's not going to work out here. What keeps Hank Brown committed to Coach Freeze and Auburn?
Yeah, kind of going back on what I was just saying a little bit. I love Coach Freeze, obviously, like I was saying, but also this school has been incredible.
Yeah,
and not only just the football program, and even though I think last year there were some valleys that we had to go through, I never doubted that. I think that I have my faith in Coach Freeze and this coaching staff, and so I don't think that changed anything. But going back to just Auburn as a school, like I love the community, the feel of the town. I go to Auburn Community Church, which is an awesome church that I love.
You're a man of faith.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big man of my faith, and just a blessing that God's placed me here, honestly. So.
In talking to Peyton Thorne, he mentioned kind of the craziness of being the starting quarterback. You guys have something to deal with it. Maybe your predecessors 10, 15 years ago didn't have to deal with as much, and that is social media. Now, Peyton doesn't have Twitter. I think he said he deleted his Twitter for a lot of reasons, and he was getting Venmo requests somehow after games from over-eager sports bettors. What's the craziest thing you've seen about yourself, Hank Brown, on social media since, you kind of got thrown into the limelight?
Yeah, I got to think about that. I try my best to try and stay away from stuff.
It's impossible to avoid, yeah.
It's impossible to avoid. But I think one of probably, I don't know how crazy this is, but just obviously with my name being the baby goat, I see pictures all the time, like a baby goat's face on my face. And I just see looking up in this sentence.
Oh man, you're being mean. You've arrived when they're memeing you. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the memes are crazy. I've been memed a couple times. I can tell you I did not enjoy it. Yeah. I don't like being memed. So kudos to you for taking that in stride. Kind of in closing here, Hank, what are your goals for 2024. The passing game struggled last year, but the offense struggled last year, and it maybe wasn't the result you guys wanted. 4th and 31 in the Iron Bowl, disappointing bowl game. What are your goals here? How do you, Hank Brown, make this different for Auburn this coming season?
Yeah, I think my number one goal as a quarterback is to win.
Yeah,
and I think that's a lot of what Auburn's looking for. And I think that with that, obviously, comes competing. And I think that I'm going to go out there every day and compete my butt off. And, I think that I'm someone that, comes off as a very calm and composed, but I think I have, I'd say I'm one of the more competitive guys on the team. And so, I'm just going to go about that every single day and take it day by day and just compete my butt off and everything. Mm-hmm. And so, I think when my time comes, I'm gonna take full advantage of it, and we're gonna sail off. And I think,
I like that.
So honestly, my biggest goal is just to win, and I think we're destined to do that here.
One of your other teammates told me winning is fun, not just for you, but also for the fans. You know what else is fun was this conversation. I want to thank Hank Brown for joining me here on The Mix to talk a little bit about his goals for 2024 and the future of Auburn football. Hank, thanks for joining me, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, that's it for another great edition of The Mix with my guy, Hank Brown. If you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are The War Report on every social media platform. TW Report on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
We know the Nike partnership is happening, but let's talk about the people who are going to be wearing those uniforms. You keep up with Auburn sports, and you are noted as a big football fan. So I'm going to start the conversation with football. I know you played basketball, but you said football is your thing. So let's start out there on the gridiron and talk about Auburn football and season 1 under Coach Hugh Freeze in the books. What were your thoughts about how season 1 went on the Plains with Coach Hugh Freeze?
It wasn't surprising. I'm not one to mince my words, and
that's so why we're here. Let's talk about it.
I don't think it's a secret that Hugh Freeze came into a mess. It was a stone cold mess over the last coach's tenure. But Hugh knows what he's doing. He's not only coached obviously in the SEC, but he's won in the SEC. He's won big games, and so I think it went well, as good as to be expected. But look, I'm just really excited for the future, and he's brought in. I thought he was going to bring in the Fabulous Five, but he brought in Fantastic Four and his wide receivers and some great quarterbacks and. I can't wait to see that battle. I'm rooting for Hank Brown.
Okay.
And I'm not really a Peyton Thorne fan.
Okay.
But I just think that once Hugh gets all his guys in doing it his way, the right way, I think Auburn's gonna win some football games.
Okay,
and so eventually win some football games in some Nike uniforms.
There it is. Now we talked. You already touched on it a little bit. Going forward into the next season, Hugh Freeze was able to secure a really prolific freshman class that's coming in. A lot of excitement around that wide receiver core, and you've already kind of put your chips down on a starting QB out there. But do you have any thoughts about kind of what this season could look like for Auburn as far as, I don't know if you've projected like, it looks like 6-7. Like, are you that far into it of where you think they're going to be?
I think we win 8 games.
8 games is a respectable amount, though. Okay.
I think we win 8 games. Look, Cam Coleman is amazing, right?
Yes.
That freshman wide receiver class is amazing, but at the end of the day, they're still freshmen.
Right.
and you're still freshmen playing in the SEC. I think that Alabama has become less daunting now that Coach Saban is gone. And so I think there's a psychological advantage there.
Right.
But yeah, I see 8. Anything better would be icing on the cake. I wouldn't be surprised to win 7, but
Okay.
I do think we get to a bowl game, and I think we build on a little bit more. Yeah, I think Jarquez has an amazing year this year.
Okay.
I worry about the front 7 on defense, and still worried about that offensive line. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, listen. They've done some recent additions to that front 7 through the transfer portal over the last couple of days. So hopefully that will pay some dividends coming here in the future. And I'm excited about DJ Durkin as the defensive coordinator. I think that he's going to be able to revolutionize what that defense has been able to do, which has been a solid defense. But I think that they need to take a step towards dominance in the next couple of seasons.
I think I'll tell you this though, Asante.
Yeah.
You know, he's a dog, and
absolutely.
I'm so glad that he came back. And but you know, we lost some tough ones, right? And Marcus and DJ James, and you know, we lost some big pieces last year. And so,
sure.
you know, I think early on it's just gonna be how well Coach Durkin and Coach Freeze can get that defensive front 7 to mesh. I mean, the whole defensive side of the ball, get us to mesh, and then see if Peyton can really throw that thing, and if he can't, you know, make the leash short, Coach Freeze. You know, make the leash short, and if he can't do it, you know, you got Walker White and Hank Brown in there that can slang that thing, and that's what we need.